Looking for the field. I think it's right there. You see the runway right there? That is amazing approach. Look at that. We're gonna snake in. I was stuttering. I couldn't even. Like, this is so cool. We're gonna snake in basically just right over past this mountain and line up with final. Hello everybody, my name's William. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're going to be doing another FSEconomy flight back in the Diamond DA62. We're here in New Zealand, going to be departing from Timaru, flying onto Mount Cook. Should be a short flight and on a gorgeous day as well, so hopefully we can have some smooth air for once around here and get on with our flight. Without further ado, let's get into the planning so we can get out of here. Okay, so to get into our planning here, we're on the FSEconomy site at the airports page on Timaru. I've already loaded my job, but just want to note the local FBO has no Jet A available for us. The local market does. It's unlimited basically, and it's a standard system price of $4.19 a gallon. It's not really a big deal, but we do just want to go ahead and take a look at Mount Cook and make sure they've got plenty of Jet A available for us there. For our one passenger today, short little flight, just kind of exploring, not too worried about that. But we do have 32 gallons on board, and it's only 57 miles. We are going to go a little bit out of our way, kind of route us around some of the terrain, but 32 gallons should be more than enough for the flight today. So we'll kind of leave that there as far as our fuel is concerned, and we'll take a look at Sky Vector real quick. And this is kind of what I was saying. We're going to route ourselves around a little bit and increasing our distance up to about 65 miles. Just fly into Mammoth, and then it'll take us a little bit more north up, kind of through the valley into Mount Cook. And you can see it's actually going to route us right over this little cut in the in the mountains a little bit further inland as well. So nice little plan, and a little bit of an extension to a short flight, but still a short flight nonetheless. So let's go ahead and get into the plane and get on with the flight. Welcome on board the Diamond, everybody. We got the aircraft started up. You can see our FSEconomy client is open. Aircraft is on the ground and available. So we'll go ahead and go to the flight tab and start our flight. Make sure our one passenger loads up. You can start the flight after you've started your aircraft or anything like that, just in case you were wondering. We'll go ahead and hide that client. Now you really just have to be on the ground, and realistically, I think it's something about like having your parking brake set, so you could do it just holding short of the runway. But nevertheless, we're started up, we're ready to go. I have my altitude bug set to 8,000 feet, heading bug set to 020 because we're going to use runway 02, which is right down there by the pointer, or by my mouse on the map. So we're going to taxi to the left here, hold short of the runway, make sure it's clear, and then back taxi, turn around, and use runway 02 for departure. Today it'll be straight out, like I said, climbing up to 8,000 feet, and then we'll turn left, get on course to Mammoth, and on our way to Mount Cook. So with that, we'll go ahead and release our parking brake. We'll get our taxi light on here, wave to the ground crew, so nice, and gave us a pushback. I think they're getting better as well. They hooked right up and just pushed the plane straight back. It was nowhere near as buggy as it has been in the past, so that's nice to see. And like I said, we'll start our taxi, and then we're just going to hold short here, make sure we've got everything basically ready and set up to go, as well as make sure the runway is clear. Go ahead and set our takeoff flaps now. Do not see a hold short line, so we'll go ahead and call this good right here and just stay on the brakes. So we got our takeoff flaps out. Just confirm, yep, takeoff flaps, and that's good. Okay, so for today we're going to rotate out at, we're going to look for around 76 knots for rotation, and then climbing out, really roughly we're gonna look for a climb out speed of about 90 knots or so. Try and get up to 8,000 nice and quick today. So we'll go ahead and get our taxi light off and landing light on, And with that, I think we are ready to go. We'll go ahead and set our transponder on as well. And let's verify it looks clear off towards our right. And the approach in looks clear as well. So let's take the runway. Something definitely does feel weird with the plane taking so much power to get rolling on the ground, but once it starts rolling, it at least rolls decently well until you start turning anyways. So we can go ahead and set a flight director on to kind of help us out there. We can put a heading mode on, vertical speed mode on as well, and set a climb rate of, we'll do 1,000 feet per minute. We'll set that in, at least initially. So let's turn around here on the runway. Try to keep our momentum up. That way we don't stall out and have to give it a bunch of bootload of power here. It's tricky because you got to slow down enough to actually be able to make that tight of a turn. Okay, so before we go, so I don't forget, let's go ahead and zoom our map out as well. Alright, so we'll hold the brakes here. Just because this thing does take a decent amount of power to start rolling, we'll go ahead and set that power. Alright, power's set. Release the brakes. We'll start the slow trundle down the runway here. Airspeed's alive. Set looking for about 76 knots for rotation. Or 70. 76. Okay, we are up, positive rate. Tap the brakes there, get the gear up. Try and fly it on 020. Continuing to accelerate here, we'll get our flaps up. Yeah, 1,000 feet per minute was really conservative. We're about 15 degrees nose up, like 1,700 feet per minute on the climb. As we come through 1,000, let's go ahead and start our left-hand turn. See what a nice day it is out. Look at all those mountains, clear. The wind's not getting too crazy or anything. Looks like a lovely day. A little bit on the cool side, but I would definitely take this weather over what I've got in real life at the moment. I'll just start to roll out and fly about 250. You don't need to go too crazy. I'm not worried about holding exactly that airspeed either. I just continue keeping this climb up. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous how well this thing is climbing. We'll put 1,700 feet in on our autopilot and just try and fly the flight director basically. If we start getting below 90 knots, we'll pitch the nose down a little bit. Compensate. And there it is. So we'll drop the nose. See if I can trim it out here to just kind of hold just below 15 degrees nose up. It's a very steep climb. But we aren't heavily loaded up or anything, so it's nice to kind of see the performance this plane has. We're slowly starting to capture our direct to course for Mammoths. Like I said, we'll just slowly let that come in on its own. The plane almost trimmed out here, just a little bit more nose up. Gonna hold it around there now. We'll set the heading bug to 240. Heading mode is engaged. Vertical speed mode, we'll drop it down to 1,500 feet per minute. That's roughly what we're doing right now. Drop it down a little bit more. We'll engage the autopilot. We'll go ahead and get our landing light off at this point. And let's pull our power back just a touch as we're coming through 5,000 feet. I need to leave it redlined there for the entire time. It said that everything looks good. Oil temperature's basically on the edge of the red there, but it seems to always just kind of stay right there anyways. And we're showing 38 miles to Mammoth and 22 minutes on our trip here. We're going 103 knots ground at the moment. A blistering pace, but once we get up to 8,000, we'll keep the power in and really hopefully start to kind of stretch our legs here. Let's say goodbye to the coastline. Can't really see out over the nose, but you can see the mountains over there on the off the left wing out in front of us. Flying back into them today. New Zealand's really been rivaling British Columbia as to where I'm enjoying spending my time. As we just kind of blow through our nav course there. We'll go ahead and put nav mode on. See how crazy it wants to get. Pretty crazy. Yeah, it's fine. I could have smoothed that out, but just wasn't paying attention to it at the right time. We'll capture it here momentarily, though. We're 600 feet from our altitude, so it'll probably start to capture here just momentarily. As we start to level out, we'll get focused on... Yep, we're capturing 8,000 now, so let's see what kind of airspeed we can get out of this before we kind of get into the cruise phase. I could have hit just direct 2 on Mammoth, but I really did want to fly that course specifically just because it was going to take us kind of right in between some of the... it's not really challenging terrain for us up here at 8,000 feet, but still I think a better plan than not to do anything, so... So we're not even leveled out yet, and we're already up to 150 on our indicated there, and 163 on our ground. Time has come down, it's almost halved our time. And we're in smooth air, so we can continue up into the yellow if I want to. I think we'll pull the power back to 80. And see what that gives us as far as gallons per hour and airspeed. It's 172 knots across the ground at the moment. Airspeed looks like it's going to hang around this kind of right around the 155, 160 range. And just over 8.5 gallons an hour in both tanks. With basically a 9-knot crosswind. That might be converting to maybe 1 knot on the tailwind component, but look at those mountains. That is gorgeous. It's kind of weird flying around here on a pristine day. I don't really think we've had just a clear, perfect day in New Zealand yet. You can see some clouds off in the distance and everything, but it's relatively calm winds, smooth air so far. Keep our fingers crossed on that one. And very great visibility as well. just coming up on about 13 miles now from Mammoth. It's just taken us right between the terrain. You can see on Sky Vector how it just kind of slotted us right in between. These are the ridges off towards our left, and you can see them off towards our right as well. And the just lower bit that we're flying over at the moment. It is absolutely stunning. Looking at all this, you can see looks like some really angry weather kind of up over towards our right into those mountains, but where we are right now is absolutely beautiful. And taking a look at the big mountains up in front of us, and we're basically going to get to Mammoth, which is just short of this big body of water here, and we're going to fly up it, and the airport should be up at the just past basically the end of this large body of water here. So we're flying right up into some of these bigger mountains as well. It should be quite scenic. So about 10 miles till we turn off towards the north. Probably going to pick up a little bit of headwind from the looks of things, but flight's going pretty smooth so far. Alright, so we just made our turn at Mammoth. We are 20 miles out from Mount Cook. You just gotta look at this scenery that we're flying through right now. This is stunning stuff. The color of the water too, I mean, there's some interesting stuff going on here, but and look out towards our right as well. Kind of see what we're flying into. I'm really glad I decided to do this flight. It may not be the most financially beneficial flight ever in FSEconomy, but once again, an airport I would have never gone to. So we're gonna have airport we're gonna be passing over just up here. This would be a beautiful airport to fly into. I think it's right up there. That'd be kind of interesting, or maybe it's in here. From the look of the map, it kind of looks like it's got to be just before the end of that water. Not entirely sure, but with the water and the mountains and everything, that would be beautiful. And our airport should be up a little bit further up into the mountains here. At Mount Cook for planning, runway tree 1 tree, with wind coming out of the north. From what we're seeing right now and what I was seeing before we started the flight, we're going to plan for runway tree 1. We're flying heading tree 20 at the moment on course, so we'll just sync our heading bug up to our current heading. We'll set tree 10 in the bug, and it'll pretty much be a straight in for us today, as long as I don't screw up the descent or something like that. Wow. New Zealand does not disappoint. That is for sure. I have to start saving up my pennies. It's very, very beautiful. Let's also see real quick, just for planning's sake, our takeoff flaps, 136 knots is when we can put them down. Landing flaps, 119 knots. Our final approach speed today, we can get down to about 85 knots for our final approach speed, but I'm going to try and keep it more around 90. It's a little bit easier to kind of handle the plane around that airspeed. So just a little bit fast for that. Alright, we should go ahead and plan on trying to get a little bit lower. The field elevation's just around 2,000 feet. So we'd only have to go down about 6,000 to get to the ground. And we're coming up on 3 minutes from the field. So we'll go down to 4,000 initially, so 2,000 feet above the field elevation, more or less. And we'll start a... we'll go for a pretty fast descent here. We'll start a 2,000 foot per minute descent just momentarily here. I'll go ahead and actually just start setting it up, and it'll work out about right. So we're starting our way down. I'm going to pull the power back as we're doing this. don't mind keeping the speed up at this point, but I don't really want to get deep into that yellow arc at all. As I said, we can put our takeoff flaps out at 136 knots, and I can go ahead and put the landing gear out right now if I really want to kind of give us some more drag and help out and slowing the airplane down. Looking for the field. I think it's right there. You can see the runway right there. That's amazing approach. Look at that. We're gonna snake in. I was stuttering. I couldn't even. Like, this is so cool. We're gonna snake in basically just right over past this mountain and line up with final, and then that's gonna this big old mountain, probably Mount Cook. I don't know. I'm just taking a swing at it there. Probably gonna be our backdrop for the approach in as well. So with that kind of sorted, let's go ahead and stop letting the autopilot have all the fun. We'll pull the power all the way back. We'll get our gear down, give us a little bit more drag, and we'll get our landing lights on. We're starting the approach in the aircraft. We'll get our fuel pumps turned on as well. So we're going to come to the left. This is probably one of the prettiest airports. I know I said that recently about an airport in British Columbia, but I mean, come on. We're just going to kind of do a little bit of a snake here, make sure we get our airspeed under control. Let's pitch up, get to 136, we're below it. Let's get our takeoff flaps out. We'll fly along this ridge line. This is a cool approach. Look at this. And we can go ahead and go full flaps now. Now that is an airport right there. Look at that. Let's get back in our seat. That pillar's kind of blocking our view, so we're gonna lean over a little bit more, help line ourselves up. I said I wanted to be around 90 knots on final here. Right around there, right around 90 knots. Wind's not really coming from the north, but it's no factor, 2 knots. We're on short final here for runway tree 1, Mount Cook. Start pulling the power out, so we're a little bit fast. The nose down gently there. Go ahead and get on the brakes nice and early. Let's try and make this first turn off without having to back taxi or anything. Playing nice and slow down here. Perfect. We'll make the left, get our taxi light on. Go ahead and get our landing light off. And get our fuel pumps off as well. Let's clear the runway. A transponder on standby. Jeez, this airport is something else. Alright, we are clear of the active, so we'll get our flaps in. And I think we're just gonna park up by this building here. Let's get in here before this this guy. These ground vehicles are the bane of my existence. They always try and get in my way. Just cutting me off. I mean, just look at this scenery. This is... I mean, you guys can see it. I don't need to keep pointing it out. This is a beautiful airport. November Zulu Mike Charlie, if anybody wants to check it out in the sim. Mount Cook. Stunning, stunning place. We'll park up here. We'll get our taxi light off. And we'll go ahead and set our parking brake. That completes our flight as far as FSEconomy is concerned. And I want to say thank you to FSEconomy for bringing me to Mount Cook. Because it's something else. We'll go ahead and hide the client now. You can see the aircraft was on the ground there at Mount Cook. We can go through and get ready for shutdown here. Pitot heat off. We can also leave the light on there for the moment. And we can also go ahead and turn our avionics off. Right master off. That is a good shutdown. And then left master off. And our flight is complete. Left master off, and we can go through turning everything else off as well. Now strobe light off, all of those are off, and so battery off at this point. And then we'll close up the fuel valves here. That is us on the ground here at Mount Cook. I hope you all enjoyed the flight. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really wasn't expecting the airport to be quite this beautiful. This sim still does amaze me with that, but it's nice being able to share this stuff with you guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. I appreciate all the support, guys. It is amazing. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Until then, bye bye.